All right. Hey, everyone. Give us one quick second. We're going to get this show started. We're just waiting for one more mod to jump in. Waiting for the other mod to jump in. Welcome to Xbox Talks. Just wanted to give you guys a quick rundown of what this is if this is your first time listening. Basically, it's a cool feature that Reddit wanted to put out to you guys or to the community here at Xbox Series X, and it's basically like Twitter Spaces for the most part, where you can create a room, have a nice little conversation. We decided to kind of turn it into a little podcast for you guys, the community. This is your show as much as it is ours. So if you guys want, go ahead, hit the hand raise button down below when you guys want to jump in. If there's something you want to talk about, we'll try to get to everybody and in the right order. Sometimes we can ramble a little bit, but definitely keep your hands raised and we'll bring you up as soon as possible. But yeah, that's pretty much what Xbox Talk is. Once Foreman gets in, we'll get the show started. All right, and there he is. All right, guys, welcome to Xbox Talks. I gave you guys already the brief little rundown of what this is. For those just joining, it's an interactive podcast that's for you, the community. Come up, raise your hand, talk with us. We're going to be talking about all of Xbox news this week, as well as, just there's some fun things. So let's introduce the host today, myself, Kevin Korkenstein, mod here on Xbox Series X, as well as Xbox One. We have Ivan Grimprovise.
Yep. How's it going, everyone?
And we have Jay Foreman.
Hey, it feels like we were just doing this, I swear.
Yeah. For those that didn't or joined us last night for Halo Talks. If you guys ever want to talk about the new show, we also have another show dedicated to that. We're going to be launching or try to air on Friday nights at 7 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, and it's just a great time to talk about the Halo, the TV series, if you like that. So that's another little fun thing we're doing for you guys here on the community. Jay,
No, I was just gonna say what a good time that was last night. I wasn't sure how it was gonna go, dedicating the show just to Halo. And if you guys have been listening the last few weeks, we've been talking about it on this show, but it seemed like a kind enough content there to spin it off into its own conversation. And we had some really good talks about the first couple episodes and maybe how opinions are changing. And if you all wanted to catch up on that, or if you want to join us, like Kevin said, we'll be recording those on Friday night, and you too, if you want to participate. And we will also link those in all of our normal archives on like YouTube and at the top of the subreddit there, so you can go listen back and check it out too. So hopefully you're enjoying that show, and if not, it's everybody's right. Not everybody's going to like everything, but it was really a good time last night.
Yeah, I mean, even if you guys don't like the Halo TV show, come up, tell us why. I mean, constructively, of course. But yeah, come up, talk to us. Like, yeah, man. I mean, my biggest criticism, I don't like the CGI in the show. I think the CGI needs a lot of love, and that's definitely one of my biggest criticisms. But yeah, we're looking for every opinion. You remember, like I said, this show is much of your guys' as it is ours. Sorry for the delay on today's show. Usually we start at 12. It's my fault, 100%. I woke up completely late, and we're kind of catching up. But thank you for being here, guys. We all appreciate you. Jay, you want to start off the news?
I do want to start off the news, but first I want to start off by asking you guys if you've been gaming this week and what have you been playing? And obviously I'm loading this question for myself, so I'll go ahead and take lead. Several months ago, we had a developer come to the subreddit here, and they were pitching a new game, and they asked if they could do an AMA, and we were like, sure. And I didn't really know anything about this game. It's called Monster Sanctuary. Just kind of under my radar, and then he started to discuss it and share some details about it, and I was like, wow, I'm adding this one to the famous backlog, right? So it's been sitting there forever, and I finally kind of got back into it. And what this game is, it's like a Metroidvania, but also Pokemon. Now that probably sounds pretty weird, but basically you're jumping around and exploring, and as you capture the different creatures, well, you can also use them for movement. So say you capture a bird. Well, there was a cliff that you couldn't get over before. Now you can attach yourself to this bird, fly over there, and explore a new area. But all the battles are kind of Pokemon based. You have three units on your team, and they all fight at the same time. It's not one-on-one, so it's like 3v3. And part of the enjoyment I'm getting out of this game is grouping together the different monsters, the different creatures, and making different teams that there's a lot of depth into the stats and the resistances and that kind of stuff. Very typical Pokemon stuff, like rain or water beats fire type of thing. So anyways, I made an all troll team, which was pretty much melee damage, and it was just a lot of fun. So I'm really enjoying this game, and I just wonder how many games there are like this on the Xbox store, because they do get a lot of indie titles and smaller titles that I've overlooked that are kind of like hidden gems, So anytime any of you users, especially if you guys stumble upon a game like this, that's something we'd love to hear about too. Just come on up and share some gospel about a game that you fell in love with that maybe a lot of people missed. So if you're a Pokemon fan, I'm going to throw out my recommendation this week for Monster Sanctuary. What have you guys been playing, or do you have any games like that?
Yeah. So pretty much what I've been playing is I saw it on super cheap discount on the spring sale, Immortals Phoenix Rising. So I picked that up title. Pretty fun. I mean, I always wanted, it was always on my list. Typical Ubisoft open world game, so it has its pros and its cons. But yeah, I mean, just the whole mythos of the Greek mythology and everything's always been a big interest of mine. Pretty fun game. Has, like I said, it has its cons. I think the control scheme's a little weird. The controls is a little controls are a little sluggish, I guess you could say. But fun gameplay, pretty basic. I'm just doing it, I know some people might not agree, but on easy mode, just so I can get through the storyline and kind of just see what the game's about. Elden Ring and Tunic took up a lot of my time, so there's a crippling backlog I have. But for games, Moonglow Bay, actually, which just got patched and we'll be talking about later on today in the show. Yeah, that's such a beautiful game. It's so charming. It's from a small indie team. They worked really hard. They had some troubles. Now they got a really awesome patch out. If you guys want a pretty just fun, relaxing kind of fishing game with some little minor RPG aspects to it, just definitely Moonglow Bay. Sorry, I'm still trying to wake up. Beautiful game. Yeah, I can't recommend it even more.
Definitely a huge backlog game for me. Another one that's hiding back there because maybe on your recommendation, but I've seen other people recommend it too. But I've also seen reports that there are game-breaking bugs. People have got to a point in a game and there's nothing they can do. Something that has prevented them from moving on, and it's at that point they have to make a choice to completely start over or just throw in the towel. And I think what happened is a lot of users did throw in the towel, but this patch that has been released is supposed to be really significant. And this is a great place to dive in on the news while we're talking about this game. And it's supposed to fix a lot of those bugs, basically. So I'm
Yeah.
now more interested in it and really excited to try it out. So, is it? What is the gameplay like? Can you describe the basic gameplay loop? Kind of. I know that might be kind of too vague, but give me your best shot.
No, definitely. Yeah, so it's from an isometric standpoint. For those that know what it is, it's the top-down view. You see it in like Diablo, most RTSs, that kind of view. Basically, it's like a management game with a little bit of RPG. You just go out and you try and find fish, and then fish to catch. And then you cook them up at home, and then you can set up vending machines around the town. Basically, you also try and rebuild the town as well. So it's a little bit management sim, a little bit RPG, a little bit fishing game. It has a little bit of everything, but it also has that art style of Minecraft, where it's a little blocky and things like that, kind of basic textures. Really nice art style. I mean, it's not, I guess some people will say it's like a ripoff of the Minecraft art style. I think it differentiates itself a little bit, just more so on the style. It's inspired by, I guess you could say. But yeah, it's that's pretty much what it is. It's management game, RPG, fishing, just has everything in there.
Yeah, I'm looking at some video quality or video footage of it right now, and I see what you're saying. Is that voxel? Is that the term for that style? It's very popular. Obviously, Minecraft kind of made it a staple in gaming, but it doesn't offend me. I think it works okay. It looks pretty. Sure, it might be a little redundant because we've seen it 1,000 times before, but it works perfectly for a game like this. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Ivan, how you doing over there? What have you been playing this week, guy?
To be honest with you, I kind of went to this like weird Star Wars, I guess, rabbit hole because of the Lego Star Wars games. So I'm playing the new one, the new Lego Star Wars. And part of the rabbit hole that I went down was I loaded up Knights of the Old Republic 2 and decided to give that a playthrough because I haven't played that since the original Xbox, pretty much. And man, definitely a stark contrast between the two universes. But there is one game, like I guess similar to your Monster Sanctuary story, is there's a game that I saw that I was surprised that was even on Xbox. I didn't even realize they even got ported, but it was on sale, and it was like all three of them. So if you're into like point and click adventures, which I'm definitely in the mood to get more into that with the whole Monkey Island being announced, the Journey Down, all three of them I think were on sale for $3 or something like that on the US store on Xbox, and I really recommend that if you're looking for something that's like, I wouldn't really say indie, but if you just like point and click adventures, like it came out in 2010, but it feels like it's something that might have came out like late 90s, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I do. There's actually Desponia is another. There's a ton of those games on the store, and it's really great to see that kind of variety out there. It's one of the things I love about Xbox's focus on indie gaming and ID at Xbox and that kind of stuff is that we get such a wealth of these games. And no, it's not quite parity with Steam where you get every game under the sun, but it's a good variety. And if you're into smaller genres like that, some might say they're niche. I just love it. So we just described two games that are perfect to that. Games that are not going to be AAA or might not even crack the top of the sales charts, but everybody has, I think, that kind of smaller focus game that they kind of love. So it's great to hear people enjoying those. Welcome on up, Pumpkinhead. We have our first guest today, and we're happy to have you up here. You can unmute yourself on the bottom and share any thoughts you had on what we've been speaking about, or maybe something totally new. So how are you doing?
Pretty good. Can you hear me okay?
You sound great.
Great. All right. Thank you. I'm a big Halo fan, and I'm just giving my opinion on the Halo series that everyone's, or what Grim Pro Buys was asking about, or Korkenstein.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the series is great as long as it's not associated with canon, I guess. Basically, I love Halo as much as Star Trek fan loves Star Trek. I've been playing the game for, 10 years, and seeing Master Chief's face is really great, but on a deep level, seeing him as a hero figure and whatnot, you can kind of see yourself inside him, or see him as yourself when he keeps his helmet on. So that's what's great about the series as far as the games go. And I've been hearing a lot of disappointment about Infinite because it's only like 30% complete as far as I've been hearing about. But as far as Halo goes, they do a really good job. I love it.
Nice. Yeah. I think it's totally fair. Like I said, especially when you enter that new medium of TV series, you're used to playing Master Chief as yourself. So you envision yourself as Master Chief during the first person games, right? And it's a very fair point. Now that he takes his helmet off, you're watching somebody else play Master Chief. And that can be jarring for some people, especially those that grew up on Halo, that wanted this to be, like a kind of based off the games, but totally fair point. Definitely, I can see what you're saying on that.
I have autism. I see him as a hero, and as a person that reads the books, Parangosky was always a good person. In the show, in the first couple episodes, she's pretty evil, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Where the person that was in charge of the Spartan 3 program, who were in Halo Reach, was pretty much Spartan 3s. He was Colonel Ackerson, I think, was in charge of the Spartan 3 program.
Okay.
He was pretty much the bad guy, and Parangosky was trying to fight against him and whatnot.
Okay. So you know a lot about the lore.
Yeah, Parangosky was pretty much made a bad guy in the series, so it pretty much sucked.
I really enjoyed this. Like, you have like a really informed take here. Most of us have not gone as far as to go back and read the books, but maybe Mikey has. He's not with us today. But anyways, if you happen to be around on a Friday night and you see one of these pop up, we'd love to have you as a guest on that show too, because you sound like you have a lot that you can offer. So
I love Halo.
That's really cool. Yeah, it sounds like you enjoy Halo.
I'm a fan of Marathon Man too. I love 343. I love Bungie.
Oh wow, yeah, that's there's been a lot of maybe not rumors. I don't want to say rumors, but there's been some people say that they should dust off that and maybe
Marathon. That's an old classic.
It's all facts. It's just facts from a fan point of view. They all do a good job.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So go ahead. Did you have any like closing thoughts on all that?
I just hope if Microsoft's listening, I just hope they come out with more campaign content. And I was pretty big into earning content rather than paying for content as far as microtransactions goes. Because I know Microsoft pretty much picked up after Fortnite and whatnot became popular with microtransactions. Before that, when Reach was popular, people played to earn for all the content, and it was more meaningful than just paying for it. So,
no, I get what you're saying, and it's been a frequent complaint for sure. But it sounds like you see the shortcomings of the game, but you still appreciate the quality of the game, maybe the gameplay.
Yeah, I love the game. It's smooth, buttery. I mean, I switched to PC for Halo Infinite. It was a little stuttery on my first gen Ryzen, but as far as Xbox, it's pretty smooth.
Awesome. And you enjoyed the campaign then as well as somebody who's
I love the campaign.
Yeah, so I had a good time with it too. So that's good to hear. So well, we hope to see you again, and thanks so much for coming up. If you want to drop a comment underneath this post, we'll give you a month of Reddit Premium, which is ad-free surfing on Reddit. It's not a huge gift, but it's the best we can do. So thanks so much for being a part of the show.
Yeah, keep advertising, guys. Thank you.
Thanks. Can't wait to see you on Friday.
Bye.
Pumpkinhead brought up a good point though about like the whole like Master Chief, where you're so used to being Master Chief, and now that the helmet's off and sort of being not what we expect, a lot of people seem to be kind of like a little at odds with it. But like if you think about maybe like The Witcher, right? That's also going off on its own path, where when you play The Witcher, it's very neutral. You get to have your own Geralt the way you want Geralt to be. But like for some reason, I don't see that, I guess, argument as much, and I think that might just be because like people are kind of forgetting that this sort of takes place a little bit before the games. Like we're still waiting to see Master Chief grow into the Master Chief we remember. So maybe that's kind of part of why we're hearing a lot of this, you know?
Yeah, and it's also you get with Witcher, you play from a third person standpoint, so it's a little easier to disassociate that. You know, when you're playing Master Chief, it's from the first person's perspective, so the immersion's a little bit more there. With The Witcher, you don't really, even though it's an RPG, the world does most of the immersion more than the character, I guess you can say. So you're playing yourself as Geralt, but you know, at the same time, you also know that you're not Geralt because you see it outside of that perspective. So, yeah, it's a fair point, definitely, on seeing yourself play and everything like that.
Yeah, totally cool. And like we mentioned earlier, we have a full conversation on Halo the series every Friday night. So if you all are interested in that, please join us over there and come share your thoughts. Moving on from that, we are going to try to dive into the news, and this is going to be a little sporadic this week. I'm so sorry. We're just going to kind of hit story after story and get some takes. I do see some hands raised. We'll also bring you guys up, and feel free to jump in with whatever, just like our last user did. He wanted to talk Halo the series. We love to get in those conversations as well. But I think the big story this week, and we're going to file under the rumor file because we don't have any real confirmation of this, but it's definitely something that took off on Monday in the subreddit, is that Microsoft may have paid for chip priority, and that's what's been increasing the stock of the Series X's. There was a little bit of debate on if this was true and about how the supply chain works, but it sounds like maybe they did grease some wheels, and there was definitely a boon of Xbox Series X stock starting maybe 2 weeks ago. It was available for more than 24 hours on Amazon. It's constantly sparking. It's sparking. It's constantly popping up at different retailers, and it seems like it's kind of a steady supply now. Is this something that you guys feel like is a possibility? Because at first I kind of questioned it, but the tangible evidence out there seems to support this.
Yeah, I think there's a possibility. You know, and like the way I heard the rumor was like it was an outbid, like both Sony and Microsoft were bidding for it, and Microsoft won the bid. That's the rumor I heard. You know, and I think, you know, just, you know, proof's in the pudding. We're seeing more Xboxes put out there, and you know, I remember at least initially back at the launch, Microsoft's focus was to make more Series S consoles, and now that we're seeing X popping up a lot more, I think that would definitely make sense with the whole like, all right, we need to get the chip priority so that we can sort of do that turnaround and get these out the door now because there's a demand for them. Whereas before they were like sort of front loading the Series S more. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's definitely a possibility as well. You know, Microsoft is, you know, they're coming into this generation strong. They're, you know, even exiting last generation, they've invested so much into the Xbox and more so into the consumer. And we're starting to see that now. You know, we're starting to see, you know, studio acquisitions, you know, more Xboxes coming readily available for the consumers and stuff like that. And it's a total Microsoft move. Reinvest into the consumers so they can join the ecosystem. It's smart business. And, you know, I know some people will bash Microsoft for that because it seems like they're just throwing around money, but that's what a company does. They spend money to reinvest in the business and to reinvest into the consumers, and it's been working extremely well for Microsoft. So on them, I don't see a problem, and I think it's 100% possible.
It's really competitive, and I think one of the determining factors right now is definitely inventory. PlayStations are obviously sold out at every opportunity that they're available, and Xbox is not too far behind, even with this big wave of stock. They did sell out, you know, after that 24 hours was up, then here we were back to square one. So what I'm anticipating and hoping is that we're going to get waves of hardware from here on out, every couple weeks or however that works. And after the online retailers are sated, so to speak, and then we'll start seeing stock available more regularly at your brick and mortar stores, which is where a lot of gamers are gonna find their system. You know, for the most part, all us hardcore gamers, well, yeah, we did the work. We went online, and hopefully we didn't have to scalp, but I'm not judging you if you went that way. We're all desperate to get our hardware and our systems, but we're getting to a point now where that's not going to be as needed. So we'll watch this over the coming weeks, but I definitely think that we've kind of turned the corner, and that's really exciting. That means more people are going to be joining us in the new generation of gaming. And let's see, we're going to move on now from that into the other big news of the week, which was Unreal Engine 5, which has been out there for quite a bit, is officially released. And we got a slew of kind of updates from different developers. And one of those updates was there's a new Tomb Raider in the works. Like, they're just like, oh yeah, we're cooking up a Tomb Raider. We're going to use Unreal 5, which if you enjoyed those games, that on the Unreal 5 engine is definitely appetizing. We also got the more follow-up on the new Witcher game, not officially The Witcher 4, because I think we're going to be going with a new character this time, so I think they're kind of spinning it off as its own thing. Or it could be, as we've guessed before, Gwent. But we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it's not that.
Gwent Unreal 5.
Yes, that's what everybody's been begging for, is a graphical upgrade on that game.
The card physics is going to be amazing.
I can't. That's awesome. Actually, I'm thinking about a card game now with like real physics. Like you slap down the card, it slides a little bit, or power move. You got to save up for it. But anyways, back to the subject at hand. Xbox Studios that will be using the Unreal Engine include Exile, Rare, Undead Labs, The Initiative, Double Fine, Ninja Theory, The Coalition, and Obsidian. So it's safe to say that we are going to be playing a lot of games that are built on Unreal 5, and somebody made the point that we have the new hardware, but these development kits, the software behind it really makes a big difference too. So this might actually be the real big step in the next gen games. So are you excited about any of those studios or the games that they have cooking up, or any of the news surrounding this?
Yeah, I mean, Unreal 5 is a big thing. I skipped the tech demo. I'm going to watch it soon, I hope. I've just been completely busy with work, but no, I mean, Unreal Engine's an amazing engine. It does a lot of work. Most people usually use it. It's a powerful engine. So all these developers, they're mostly very well familiar with it, and it's incredibly user friendly too. So I think what we're going to start seeing coming out from these studios, Sony, Xbox, all of them, is going to be nothing but mind blowing. I did bring up Growth Boost. We'll definitely get to you soon, sir. But yeah, I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to add, like, I think what you basically said was we're finally going to see the software catch up to the new hardware. And, just even playing that Matrix demo, that was pretty nice. Just seeing how that looked. Of course, I would love it to be more optimized, but that's just going to come with time. So the fact that this is getting rolled out and more people can work on it, I just think it's all good, and I really, really would love to see what's going to come from it. And usually, in my neck of the woods, I'm a big Tekken fan, so I just see it as like, oh man, the next Tekken might actually be Unreal 5 if they finally get their hands on it. That'd be really nice to see.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I think one of the misconceptions I saw out there was where people were saying, oh man, now everybody's going to be building on this and all these games are going to look the same. But it's so far from the truth. If you're familiar with Unity or Unreal 4 even, like, there are similarities when you look at especially similar genres built on the same engine. Like if it's an action adventure game, you might get some of the same shading, and yeah, some of that stuff crosses over. But also, like Tetris Effects is built on this engine. Like all these games that look nothing like it, and basically, there's still a lot of creative freedom. This is just a tool set that makes it easier for developers to give us some of those next gen effects that we're into. So they have like the shaders and everything already built in, and then these tools allow for especially for indie developers, to really put out some stunning work when it's really just one or two or three developers making a game, So it will be exciting, and it's going to be a few years before we really start to see the results of this. But it was worth noting for sure that we're finally entering that wave of game development. Sorry for hogging the mic here, Growth Boost. Welcome to the stage here. You can unmute yourself with the mic icon there on the bottom of your app. And what did you want to share with us this week?
Hello?
Yeah, we got you. How you doing?
I'm good, thanks. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, about the Unreal Engine 5.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm quite excited about it. I'm mainly excited for Rocket League because I know they're transitioning to that engine soon. Like they're working on it.
That makes sense. That's news to me though. So that'll be big news for Rocket League players. That's still a very active game.
It was currently on Unreal Engine 3, and then when they get 5, they can add all the new stuff like ray tracing and bigger maps and all that. So it's quite exciting.
Oh wow, Rocket League was running on Unreal 3. I didn't know that. I mean, I know that game's been around for a while and it has such a huge user base, but to still be on Unreal 3, I thought they would have upgraded to Unreal 4 at some point. But wow, that's awesome. Yeah, that's gonna be pretty killer for the Rocket League people.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you're excited about? I mean, it doesn't have to be anything we've talked about. What games do you play? Anything really? Hit us with it.
Oh, yeah, I've been excited about the new Lego Star Wars.
Yeah.
I was looking at it, but then I couldn't buy it, so instead I decided to buy the old one, the Complete Saga on 360.
Still an excellent game. And
Solid choice.
some people were they don't like the new one as much because they say it's strayed too far from the old formulas. I've been able to play the new one for about 5 hours, and I've enjoyed everything about it so far. It seems like a game that I'm gonna spend several afternoons going through and getting all the collectibles. So yeah, that was a big release this week.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome. Well, thanks, bud. Yeah, we appreciate you coming up and talking with us. Like you said, leave a comment down below in the thread, and we'll get you some Reddit Premium.
Thank you. So have a good one.
Yeah, you too, and hopefully we'll see you again. You can update us if you did end up picking up the new Star Wars. We'd love to hear your impressions of it. So yeah, you have a good weekend, and thanks for taking part.
Yes, thanks, you too. So.
Awesome. So I did pick up the Star Wars game. I was on the fence about it too, probably just like our last user there, where it was a couple days and I was looking at it, and they got me. Game Pass has been a big deterrent for me making these impulse buys, but there's just a Lego Star Wars, really great looking graphics, just too much going on for me to pass up this time. So Grim, you've been playing that too. How far did you get into it?
I'm about halfway through episode 1. I'm going, in the order of, I guess, the movie order, not the release order. And
yep, me too.
Yeah, it's good. I don't know. It's something like about just the way it carries itself. The Lego cutscenes, I think they're like probably the best they've ever been. So that whole Lego charm, if you always found that like kind of funny and charming in its own right, I think they just knocked it out of the park this time around. And I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm tired of the old Lego format, so that's why I'm happy that they went away from the formula. But I also see what people mean, where it's like, oh, there's a walking simulator and stuff. I don't know. I'm having fun with it. Everything just looks so good. It's hard to not just take it in and be like, oh man. Like, if anything, if you told me that was Unreal 5, I'd be like, man, look at Lego over here.
Yeah, it's so pretty, and I'm probably the same pace with you. I'm like halfway through episode 1 there, and that was even a big decision though. I'm like, man, do I start off with the original trilogy, because that's the one that's going to really hit all those nostalgia vibes? But no, I decided to go through 1 through 9 just like you. And yeah, excellent game. If you're into Lego games, or even just a Star Wars fan, it's worth playing. Lots of those cheeky Lego comedy moments.
I was gonna say, man, you guys are kicking it. You guys are definitely kicking the FOMO nest here for me. So I may have to go pick it up. It was on my list. I was like, okay, I already have Elden Ring. I still need to finish that. I mean, do you ever really finish Elden Ring? But yeah, I still have to do that. And then I got Lego Star Wars now, and then the new Detective Agency game that came out on Game Pass. So I guess I'll have to end up buying the Lego game too.
So now I think you're good here. I think this is a game that you'll wait to go on sale. I really do, especially when you have so much going on. And as we were discussing earlier, yeah, I played through a bit of it, but then I was into Monster Sanctuary, which is a game that's been sitting on my hard drive for 2 years, where I devoted most of my playtime this week. So the Game Pass has definitely increased the frugal level of my impulse buying. But if it gets you, you're not going to be disappointed. If not, it's definitely worth waiting till we get one of those half-off sales or something. So don't let that FOMO get you. Make it a wise decision.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I think I'll probably wait. There's a few titles, like I said, that I'm going to sit there and kind of wait until they come on sale. Like, I still haven't bought Far Cry 6. I usually buy all those, but yeah, there's just so many games, and Game Pass just makes it so hard to to get through all of them with such limited time.
Man, I wish Game Pass was around when I was like a 13-year-old, just playing the same 6 cartridges I had over and over. Like, geez, what an amazing value. And I'm happy it's around now, but 13-year-old me would have really loved it when I had a lot more free time,
I mean, it really took the place of, like, I mentioned it before, the video game, like, going to like a Blockbuster type rental thing. It really took its place, for me with that, except, without the late fees and all that, where you have to return it that night,
The darn thing just sitting in your front seat for a week and a half, and you're like, damn it, I should have brought that back, but I forgot.
Yeah, they want like $400 for Clay Fighters, which I guess isn't much different now.
Hey, that's one from way back in the past. I might have actually had some late fees on that myself, but yeah, once I got to a certain point, I'm just like, well, I'll just buy it. I'm just like, oh, I lost your game. Sorry about that. So we had some huge news this week. This news is big to me, and it was just kind of small and buried, like most of my favorite stories are. But Diablo 3 is finally going to run at 4K on the Series X. This has been requested and requested and requested, and I actually didn't think they were ever going to get to it, especially with Diablo 4 in development now, but they did finally boost it up, and I don't know what motivated this after all this time. It could be the potential acquisition looming overhead. It just seemed like they had been neglecting what should have been a really simple and basic upgrade, but whatever happened, they finally did it. In addition to that, it will run at full true 1080 on the Series S, so there's your discrepancy between systems again. I still sticks to the line that I've always kind of considered, that the Series X is for 4K, Series S is for 1080, and I'm fine with that. I'll be happy to play it in both formats. I think a kind of a adage to the story is we discussed about how developers can make moves like this, and it brings people back in to check out your game, and that's exactly what's going to happen here with Diablo 3. For me anyway, is that while we're going to get a new 4K, I want to go dive in and check this out on my Series X now. I haven't played the game in a year, but now you're going to get me back in there. So I think more developers should look at adding free content like this and then roping people back into their platforms. I think we hit Rockstar pretty hard for what they did with Grand Theft 5 and the paid upgrade, where that could have been a very similar situation. So did you guys play Diablo 3 at all on console? Is that a game you're into? It's one of my most anticipated parts of the acquisition, honestly, is the Diablo franchise.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I love the Diablo franchise. I mean, I grew up on it on PC back in the day. Yeah, it's a great game. It was a solid Diablo title. I even went back to it a year ago, and I kind of went through and started playing it again. My buddy, I bought it. I had a physical copy, and I gave my buddy that, and I bought the digital while it was on sale for I think like $10 or something like that. And then him and I just palled around and we played a little bit of it too. So it still has a lot of legs. Diablo is one of those games that is just going to kind of transcend through time, and it's fun to play. And if you love that series, they have such a working formula that they don't really have to reinvent the wheel that much. It just works, and you can jump in and play at any kind of generation, and it's still that Diablo fun that you love. So it's a great game, graphically beautiful too. I'm excited to see what Diablo 4 has. But yeah, it's Diablo 3 was a lot of fun.
Yeah, agreed. And it's one of those games too that you can take the break from, and then with the seasons they have, particularly, it's a great reason to roll a new character, and they usually have little tweaks to adjust the gameplay and go through it all again. So that's how I've been experiencing it. I'll just dive in on a season every now and then. With this update, there will be a new season launched as well. So if you're an old Diablo fan, it might be worth going back and dusting that one off and take it for a spin. I think the update for 4K will go live Tuesday of this week, so something to keep tabs on. I did want to welcome Draco to the stage. He's been a guest with us before, and we're happy to have you. Before we get going on that, I'm going to kind of add one more piece of news here, because we are trying to get through everything. And this was also big news this week, as Remedy Entertainment entered an agreement with Rockstar Games, speak of the devil, that they're going to make a new Max Payne 1 and 2. I believe this is going to be a remaster type thing, and we don't have a lot of the details yet. But did you guys like Max Payne? Are you excited about this? Because it seems to be kind of a cult classic game.
Yeah. Next gen bullet time. Yeah, Max Payne was a good game. I love the story. Everything. I remember when I was playing it back, as well back in the day. Very fun game. It's cool. Rockstar's lost a lot of consumer faith and trust with me. How they handled the Grand Theft Auto reboots, what they're doing now with Grand Theft Auto 5, the $40 next gen upgrade, which is all bare minimum. So I'm just really hoping. I'm giving Rockstar the benefit of the doubt, even though they don't deserve it right now, that they don't mess this up. This is a beloved series. It's a fun game. Just don't go cheap with it like you did the rest of like you've been doing. You know,
So,
you gotta
I
redeem
have
yourselves.
I have a little clip kind of in response to your concerns there. It sounds like Rockstar is just footing the bill of this game. Remedy is going to handle all the development. So from the release, they said, under the development agreement signed today, Remedy will develop the games as a single title for PC, PlayStation, and Xbox Series consoles using the Northlight engine. They go on to say that the game's development budget will be financed by Rockstar, and the size of that will be in line with a typical Remedy AAA production. Now, I don't know exactly what that entails, but it sounds like they're coming at this as not just a simple graphical upgrade. Like they're going to come at this as a kind of like a brand new game, just built on the history of the franchise. So I have hope for it. Those are good words to hear, but we're so early that the agreement was just signed, so this is obviously a ways off. Now that go ahead.
Yeah, I just want so with that, Rockstar financing it, they're usually in the driver's seat. So that's the only thing I'm worried about. I hope, like I said, I'm not trying to just be doom and gloom here, doom guy. But yeah, with them financing the bill, it kind of makes it, where they're in the driver's seat. Kind of what goes, usually with Rockstar, they're very controlling with how they handle certain things. So I'm just, I'm hoping, like I said, I definitely, I hope for the best, expect the worst kind of deal. But I think, Remedy, I trust. I think they do some great stuff. They're classic developers. So I think it will be good. I think what we need to see is visual.
What a cool character!
And then I think that will kind of spark the talks.
And we do need to 100%. So I think Draco, you're up here. Why don't you jump in and get us started with the topic that you wanted to talk about?
Hi, Draco.
Yeah, hello guys. How are you?
Welcome back. We're good, and hope you are as well.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I wanted to talk about the concern I have with the Unreal Engine 5 stuff you were talking about earlier. After playing the demo, the Matrix demo, I don't know if you played that.
I didn't play it, but I watched a lot of footage of it just to kind of get an idea of what was happening. So a couple of things I remember is the car physics were wonky. Like they were doing some crazy bouncing and stuff.
It's not... the problem for me wasn't the physics exactly. The graphics were amazing. It's closer to real life than we have ever gotten in a video game, but the FPS were dropping to, I think it was supposed to be 30, and the FPS were dropping to 20 or lower than 20 FPS. And I don't know if the games coming on Unreal 5 will be able to run 60 FPS on the Series X. Even just, maybe dropping to 50, because I wouldn't have a problem playing something like Hellblade 2 at 30 FPS, but a game like Gear 6, let's say, I really wouldn't want to play that at 30. I don't know if Unreal 5 kind of locks us on 30.
It's hard to go back for most people, not everyone. We've seen a lot of takes where 30 is fine, and 30 is fine sometimes, but for the most part, I need 60 or 120 when possible. I just love that buttery smoothness. So these are valid concerns. I think what we'll see with this is probably what we've seen with a lot of games so far is performance and quality mode type settings. That looked beautiful, and it's a lot of obviously it's going to take a lot of hardware horsepower to push those kind of graphics, even with a good engine like Unreal 5. So I think that's a really good concern and really good point to bring up. That it's one thing just to have an engine, but the hardware does have to be able to take advantage of it. So with this being a brand new thing, it might take them a few years to even get into a groove with that. Sometimes I get concerned that we're not going to see the true potential of these consoles until 5 or 6 years down the line. And I know that sounds kind of extreme, but that's happened before in previous generations. It just takes developers and a long time to learn how to use these tools and maximize them and get the most out of the hardware as well.
Yeah, I'm just hoping we don't get into a situation where it's like you either play on Series X at 30 FPS, or you have to upgrade to the next whatever console will be after the Series X, because these games will start coming out more regularly after 2024. I'm sure there will be a better console by then.
Yeah, everything should be in better shape by then. But it's a little weird. It does feel like this generation kind of got off to like a jet lagged start, for lack of a better term, just because of the we had the pandemic, and then we had the supply shortages, and everything's been really slow to switch over. So I know another topic of debate is it seems really early to look ahead to the next generation, but you do wonder if we're going to see a different model from Xbox, where maybe they release hardware a little more often. I have this theory that they're kind of approaching the phone models, where not that we're going to get a new Xbox every year, but as we went from the Xbox One to the Series X, nothing really changed. The operating system stayed the same. The only thing that really changed was a hardware boost, and all the backwards compatibility titles still worked. All the games still worked, and I could see them doing another boost sooner than later. That will provide better hardware, while still leaving everything intact. So it's not a force upgrade like our typical console generations, where you buy it and everything resets, kind of like Sony has been doing. But they're just like, hey, here's the Xbox Series Y or whatever you're going to call it, and you're fine on your Series X, but this one's just going to give you a little more power. All the same games are going to work, and that. Anyways, it's a theory, and we'll see how this plays out over this generation. But it's the adoption rate's been really slow, so I think it's kind of a good point that the software and the hardware is just going to be a neck and neck battle moving forward to take full advantage of everything that's out there.
Yeah,
So
what I'm hoping is that I don't know how the developing works and programming. I don't know what they can and can't do. But what I'm hoping for is that we can play on 60 FPS on the Series X with, a performance mode. But that's the best case scenario for me. I'm afraid it will be 30 in a lot of the games.
Yeah, excellent. That's really good. Thanks again for coming up. I know that you've been a guest with us a few times before. We will throw you another month of Reddit Premium if we've already done it, and if not, feel free to drop a comment, and we'll get that back to you. And we hope to see you up here again. So a good conversation, good discussion.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Another time, I'll staying here.
Absolutely, and we appreciate you, man. Thanks so much.
Thanks for joining, Drekel. It's always a pleasure.
Some really good points there that he brought up. If that engine is struggling already with frame rate, like I said, it's going to take some time for developers to kind of get used to it, and hopefully, I think 30 frames per second gaming is on the way out the door. I hope. I know that some people like the increased fidelity and all that, and I think having options is good. That's the way that you're going to make the most people happy. So it's kind of weird how we're getting a little close to like PC. We're like changing settings and sliders and getting the game to run on our consoles. It's just, it feels like a strange time in console gaming.
Yeah, I think Xbox has been a huge thing. I'm kind of bridging that gap, with Play Anywhere. Some of the stuff that they're doing, the variable refresh rate, things like that. They're doing a lot of work to get the Xbox console to where it needs to be, to where there's not that much disparity, or where it's so far bridging that people are like, well, I'd rather play on PC because I could get 60 FPS. Pretty soon, console gamers are going to be like, oh, I get that too. I get 4K, I get VRR, I get all of that. So it's exciting times. Like I said, we're hitting such a beautiful time in technology, especially in gaming, that there's so much coming out. It's just, it's beautiful. It's better to have too much than too little, and we are living in the time of too much, and I'm all for that. The NES had like 500 games its entire lifespan, and we had 500 games within 6 months of release, including all the indie titles. And if you get back into backwards compatibility, the library is huge, right? We all are drowning in content. So speaking of drowning in content, the Microsoft Store, the spring sale is now live. People have been asking about this one in the subreddit too for weeks. They're like, when's the spring sale going to go live? When's the spring sale? Well, it's here. So if you did want to add to your Cryptline backlog and send some money Microsoft's way, there were some highlights. The BioShock collection for $9.99, always a
a solid pickup. If you haven't played those games, they hold up very well, even though they're a little older now. Still, they're legendary almost. So Forza Horizon 5 is $50. That's not really a great discount, but that's available. The Sims 4 for $4. Those games go on sale all the time. Really not that great. Resident Evil 8, I believe, is $40. So you get the idea here. These are just a sloth of games that typically go on sale every few months for the same price, but now it's all at once. So dive in there and save some dollars if you want. Check out your wish list and see if any games are on sale and add to your collection. So it's live now, and I think for a couple weeks you'll be able to enjoy that. Also this weekend, you can play for free Football Manager 2022 and Grow Song of the Evertree. I'm not familiar with either of these games. Football Manager I am a little bit because it's a sports sim, which I enjoy those quite a bit, but I have not played that. So if you want to, you have all weekend to play those for free, though. That's kind of a nice thing that Xbox throws in there. Do you guys ever dive in on those free-to-play games, the free weekends?
Very rarely. Sometimes, like I wanted to, like for Far Cry 6, I just busy weekend. It's kind of hard sometimes. It just, I guess, varies on the weekend. So like Far Cry 6, I was like, yes, all right, I'm gonna try it. And then because it was also on half off on sale, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try this. And then it's just like I have to like go to like baby showers or birthdays, or it's like my whole weekend errands. I'm just like, all I want to do is just 1 hour. Can I just get 1 hour?
Like I said,
to try
yeah.
this? Yeah, but
13-year-old me would have loved it, but adult me, yeah, it's kind of the same thing that hits me. It's just 1 weekend is a really short time to dive in on a game. Like if I could really block aside the time, yes, I would download and play some of these titles to check them out, but it's just it's just 2-3 days. It's just not enough time for me.
Yeah, it would be cool if they did like a week. Like that would be like I think a pretty good time. But then again, I guess it would depend on the games. Like I guess you get some people that I guess that just power through, and it's just like they chug their Mountain Dew and Rockstar, and then they just spend 72 hours straight gaming to beat the game. But I guess that's a con. But yeah, I don't know. Like yeah, for responsibility for adults, it'd be great to have like a week of like quality playtime that we can kind of just at our own pace. Limit the game, like the first level, do like maybe like a 10-hour, trial or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I was going to suggest. I was going to suggest like a trial period, and like instead of doing a weekend, they can just say, all right, you can play for up to 14 hours for this entire week, so then people get to pick when they play. Like maybe they play 4 hours on Monday and then the rest on, Thursday, or I don't know, something like that. Because yeah, I don't usually jump into the free games either. For two reasons. One, I'm like, well, if I like it, now I got an achievement list that is starting to pile up and I'm going to have to buy it. Or, I'm just kind of stuck with a game that, I might have downloaded, forgot about, then now the license is up, and now I got to delete it. It's just, I usually don't bother. But I do mess with the games with gold. I still download those, so...
Yeah, those are worth adding to the collection just because they're permanent for the most part, as long as you keep your subscription active. I think that changed from the 360 to the One generation, but I think most of us anyways will probably be carrying a Game Pass subscription going forward, so that should not be a concern. So I don't know. Yeah, the games of gold are worth it. The trials, I think they could do. Maybe reformat it. I think you guys have some good suggestions there. Might be a little hard to do on the back end, putting on timers and all that stuff, but separately, that's all stuff they've done before. It's just could they bring it all in together and make that work where you have a week to play 14 hours, which sounds confusing, but it's really simple when you think about it. So speaking of games that got updated, which we weren't, but we'll just pretend we were, SnowRunner is getting a free 4K 60 update on the Series X and S. This is a Game Pass title, I believe. It's one of those games where you're driving, and I tell you what, I downloaded this game, and they start you off in a pickup truck, and I was in some snow. Shocking. I was like, okay. And it's one of those games where you have to shift it in the first gear, and then you think they would start you off in a real simple starting area, maybe a parking lot or something, but no, I'm stuck 2 feet in a snowdrift, and the first thing you have to do in the game is get unstuck from a drift. And I immediately realized what type of game this was, and I completely appreciate it, but I didn't have the time to venture too much farther into it, but at the same time, this post received over 500 upvotes on the subreddit, so it's clear that a lot of you people love and enjoy these types of games. I'm sure 60 frames per second will be a welcome upgrade for you. That was kind of coinciding with the Moonglow Bay update, which we discussed a little bit earlier. This fixed a lot of bugs with the game, makes it more approachable and hopefully finishable, because we talked, there were some game-breaking bugs there, people couldn't even get through it. So seems like a really great game that was just being held back by some issues that hopefully they have patched up. Also this week, 2 Point Campus. I'm really excited about this game. Did you guys play 2 Point Hospital at all?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Just a little bit. I think I don't know, like the controls were a little weird for me on controller. I'm used to playing those type of games on PC, so it was fun though. I loved it. What it was like, oh man, these are like the classic building sims that we grew up on, like Roller Coaster Tycoon and all those fun type of games. It was solid. I like what they're doing. I may try it. I do have the Razer Turret for the Xbox consoles, so I have the PC and or I could use a keyboard and mouse if I wanted to for those types of games. That's why I got it. I also got it because I thought WoW was going to be coming to Xbox. So I was like, awesome, I could use a PC, a keyboard and mouse. And that never happened. But no, it's a great
ultimate
title.
unicorn. Yeah. It's a. I saw Juz actually. He tweeted about that earlier this week, and he's like, he did a poll. Would you be excited if World of Warcraft came to console? Like 70% of his followers said yes. I think that's pretty indicative of probably the real numbers out there. I think. Why not? But we've discussed that before, and maybe once the acquisition takes place, that's something to look at better. But as far as the 2 Point games, I didn't think I was going to enjoy it because it seemed like a sim light, and I don't necessarily always click with those. But it has a really good campy sense of humor, like the diseases people have. Like, oh no, I'm into the hospital and I'm lightheaded, but instead of actually being lightheaded, like the person's head was actually a light bulb. Like it's just that kind of like cheesy little jokes and stuff, and I ended up spending a lot of time with it. So doing that as a college simulator sounds like a lot of fun. But with those reviews, unfortunately, we received the news that the game will be delayed until the summer. It was due out in just a few weeks, but they're pushing it back to fine tune it, and I'm okay with that because I want them to release a product that they're happy with. So just like we discussed Moonglow Bay, you don't want to ship a product with a bunch of bugs. So it's kind of interesting. We'll keep tabs on that.
Okay, it's not just like Moongo. See, I can't even say it. It's such a beautiful name, but it's so hard to pronounce.
Why is it hard to say it? I'm all like Moongoo, Moonglob. Like I just can't get it out.
I'm glad I'm not the only one. I was like, maybe it's just because I'm like only halfway through my coffee. I'm on like 2 hours of sleep. I was like, maybe it's just me, but no, it's just Moonglow Bay is like something you really have to focus on. It's like Irish wrist watches. Like trying to say that like 3 times fast. It's just like it's just so hard to say. Sorry, a little side tangent. We do that a lot on this show. If you guys don't know, we just kind of go off on little random side tangents. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't.
We always end up back home, though. That's all that matters. So, kind of in the indie scene, we also got a little more of a preview of the Stardew Valley follow-up, another game that I'm excited for, and I know a lot of users are excited for. The creator said that the follow-up's called Haunted Chocolatier, first of all. So if you haven't heard of that, it looks just like Stardew Valley, except I believe you are kind of running a chocolate factory, which is, you probably could decipher that from the title. But anyways, he did mention that there's going to be boss fighters, but there was a quote from here where I think it was worth picking up on, basically. And he said, what he said was, lately I've kind of just been, screw it. If that means a lot of stuff in Stardew Valley was perfect and it doesn't need to be changed, then I'm going to do it the same way and not worry about it. If people say it's cut and paste Stardew Valley, well, so be it. What did you expect? Did you expect me to make a sports game or a racing game? Like, this is just what I do. So basically just kind of doubling down on, like, this isn't going to be a brand new game. It is going to feel a lot like Stardew Valley with maybe some different vibes because, like I said, it's a chocolate factory instead of a town and a farm, but the combat's going to be there with boss battles. Like, I'm really excited about this, basically. So just announced it not too long ago, and it sounds like it's getting pretty close to reaching the end of development already. So did you enjoy Stardew Valley, and are you excited about the sequel?
I mean, I absolutely loved Stardew Valley, and when I saw that it came to Game Pass, I was really debating about going through it again. Like, it was such a weird game because I'm usually not someone who I guess would like be like, oh man, everyone's playing this, I should go check it out. Like, if it doesn't seem like something I'll be into, I usually just leave it to the side. But man, that grabbed hold, especially when they added multiplayer. That's when I jumped in, and wow. I don't know where 70 hours of my life went, but it was gone, according to my playtime. But yeah, great game. And I'm really excited for this because it just seems like, it goes a little more into the, I guess, the discovery aspect of Stardew Valley. Like, I don't want to spoil anything about that game, but there's a lot of things that surprised me about that game. And Haunted Chocolatier, even in the trailers, it looks like they're not holding back. Like, if that's what they're showing in the trailer, I can't wait to find out what's in the game past that. I hope it's not just a trailer. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Stardew Valley is such a beautiful game. It's like you said, you start playing and then you're like, oh, okay, I've missed about 2 weeks worth of work. This is bad. Your time just gets so wrapped up into it, and it's fun. So like seeing what he's doing, and I totally get it. Like, he makes those styles of games, and he does it extremely well. We just talked about this with Diablo. Diablo, same thing. It's just that classic style that they do, and they may change it a little bit here and there, but it's still the same game that and that you love and that you expect. And sure, it may not stray too far from what you do, and some people might not like that, but you at least know what you're getting, and at least that you're going to have fun and you're going to enjoy it because that's just what you're into. So it's no shame on him. Like I said, I think it's a beautiful response what he said.
And it probably makes the development a little bit quicker too, because I'm watching some footage of this right now, and if I didn't tell you this was a totally different game and you weren't paying attention too closely, like, it looks carbon copy Stardew Valley. And like I said, I'm good with that. Just churn them out. Maybe it's a pseudo sequel if you want to look at it that way, but I think a lot of people will be excited for this, and I'm sure that just such a creative dude. I'm sure it's going to land well and be a great game when it's finally ready. So I was excited to see news about that. And kind of I wanted to go back to something. We've talked about Guardians of the Galaxy, the game, on this show before, and just how it wasn't received very well. I mean, it was received well, but the sales numbers just weren't up to par for Square. We should say that. But this week, the producer of the game came out and said that the game is finding its audience, and is attributing that to Game Pass, which is kind of a point that we've made before, right? That Game Pass is an opportunity for a game just like this to get in more hands so people can check it out. Maybe they were hesitant about buying it, and now they're playing it. And what's happening is not only are they playing it, they're going through and purchasing it, even though it's still on Game Pass, which is something I do. If there's a great game on Game Pass and I know it's not going to be there forever, I'm more than fine to buy it at that discounted rate and add it to my library permanently. So I was really happy to see this. But it's not a hidden gem, right? But it's like, it deserves more praise, damn it.
Or yeah, even with indie titles like Moonglow Bay. Nailed it first time.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, it was just like, that's just a classic game. I mean, yeah, it had its bugs, it had its issue, but it's a beautiful game, at least to me. So I was like, you know what, this is a small indie team. They're taking a big chance on Game Pass. I'm going to take a big chance on them, and I bought the game straight out before I even played it on Game Pass. I saw what they did when they did their indie showcase. It looked amazing, and I was like, you know what, this is a great game. I know this is the style of game, and I ended up loving it. I put in so many hours until I got stuck, but I'll be coming back to it as soon as I think I had just downloaded the patch earlier today or yesterday. And yeah, I'm going to play it. And it's Game Pass does great things for indie developers. And even, as you can see now, major AAA publisher developers.
I actually wonder if that's going to bring Square Enix more to Game Pass, with some titles that they're not too sure about. Because I know when we talked about before, Square Enix usually has pretty up their expectations when it comes to sales. Sleeping Dogs didn't meet. The original, or I guess the Tomb Raider trilogy for a bit there wasn't meeting it. They really set it very high, and they kind of want Final Fantasy numbers. So maybe we might see some more games get like moved over to Game Pass because they're like, well, it worked for Guardians of the Galaxy. Let's try this game here and throw it right over to Game Pass. I'll really be curious to see how that works. Based on how they always want these big knockout sales,
Yeah, and that's completely fair. Like Square Enix, they even, I think even were, speaking of Guardians of the Galaxy, they even said that, like, it didn't meet our sales expectations, and then, what was the other game that they released? Outriders, that they were part of a publishing thing. They kind of knocked Game Pass for that. But now I think they're slowly starting to see, like, no, it's actually working, you just got to believe in this title. And yeah, maybe, you want, $2 billion instead of $1 billion. And, it's not a success, if you look at it that way, but it's like, no, it's still a success. It's still a great game. You're still getting it, and it's setting up the foundation for a sequel, because now you have this install base and you got people into this ecosystem of the Guardians game. They loved it. They're going to spend money on the second one. It's a constant revenue generator.
Yeah, and I'm hopeful as well, kind of like Ivan was saying, that this maybe encourages Square to loosen up on some of their content stinginess. It's probably the best word, right? Like, it seems like they're not always inclined to bring a lot of their software over to the Xbox. The Dragon Quest 11 was a big surprise, and so was Dragon Quest Builders 2. I wish that they would just start releasing their stuff everywhere and stop playing these games, but we will all know very well that I am still waiting on Final Fantasy VII Remake, if it's ever going to happen. I actually bought it on Epic Games, but I haven't played it over there yet, and I just hope that it gets an Xbox release someday, and that's how I want to experience it. So anyways, that's kind of a tangent, but I went off on it, so
totally fair.
It is what it is.
Yeah, Final Fantasy VII, yeah. I mean, that's something that everybody wants to play. I mean, we grew up on it. Most people grew up on playing it. It's such a staple title, so hopefully they see it. I mean, I doubt they'll release it on Game Pass, but at least they're starting to see the viability of Xbox and what it can offer to their bottom line.
Yeah, and that's definitely a case where Sony's playing keep away a little bit too, which is, hey, that's how it works when you have competing storefronts, and it's just kind of the way of the world, even though some of us will bemoan it until the end of time. But just hopefully that someday, that's all I'm asking for. Maybe before the end of this generation, that particular title makes it to Xbox. But I'm also interested in the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters that are released on Android and Steam, and I think it's games 1 through 6. They went through, completely redid them. It doesn't seem like it'd be that difficult to port these over to Xbox, and that would be the first time ever outside of Windows Phone that they have brought the classic Final Fantasy titles to the Xbox Live platform. So just as an old grumpy gamer, that's my one knock against Square Enix, but I hope that this moves like this do kind of grease the wheels a little bit and maybe get them thinking about bringing that content here. Rather
than yelling at them to get off your lawn, you're like, get on my lawn.
Yes, please come to my lawn. So it was kind of a light week for news this week, so that was pretty much all the top headlines. If there's anybody in the audience that wanted to come up and share some closing thoughts, please do. Otherwise, we'll kind of start wrapping things up here, I believe. What are you guys going to be playing this week? What are you looking forward to, that when you get some couch time and you get the TV to yourself, and what are you going to be firing up? I'll start. No, go ahead. No, I didn't mean to take you guys off guard. It's a wide open question.
No, I'm having a little issue with my Reddit talk thing for some reason, like the same thing we had last week, where I'm like wailing on the mic button and it's just not opening up. It seems a little laggy on my end. But yeah, Moonglow Bay. I'll be playing that for sure. Probably some more Elden Ring. Probably Immortals Phoenix Rising if I get the chance. I just kind of want to knock that out, but for sure 100% Moonglow Bay.
I'm really go ahead. Nope, you.
I was gonna say, I think I'm gonna probably crack into the Journey Down, the one I mentioned before. Probably wrap up Lego Star Wars, and now that Moonglow Bay is patched, I mean, that was really what was keeping me away from it. I was hearing a lot of problems, but I was definitely interested, and also just hearing everybody talking about it. I'm probably gonna load that up too once I get either the Journey Down or Lego out of the rotation. I'll probably start up Moonglow.
Yeah, I want to stick with Lego. That's the exact type of game where it's going to slip away from me unless I make a conscious effort to keep playing it. So I want to get through that, at least get through the entire story. Maybe not all the collectibles because that's a Herculean effort, but play through all 9 episodes because they're kind of brief, and the way they did it is really cool. So that's on my agenda for sure this week. Also, I'll probably wrap up a little bit of the Monster Sanctuary, but I'm going to dive in on Diablo. I want to see what it looks like in 4K. It's an old game and an old engine, and it was debatably not all that pretty to begin with, as far as really pushing pixels. But there's a new season starting up, and it seems like a good time to make a wizard and, and roll around that for 40 or 50 hours. So, like we were saying, there's just a wealth of content and options out there, and if you search through your game library, you're going to find something to just fit the mood. So excited for that. As we're getting ready to wrap up here, I did want to mention, and we kind of mentioned it at the top of the show, that Friday nights now we're recording a show dedicated to Halo, the series. I had a really good time last night with Mikey and Kevin, just discussing episode 3, and we know a lot of you are interested in that. So I think we're kind of around a 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 Pacific start time. I think we're going to lock that in, but if we make adjustments, we'll put a sticky up a few days ahead of time, and you all can come join us there. Kevin, you did a great job with that.
Oh, thanks, bud. Yeah, it was a fun time talking about it. I mean, this is a new show and nobody knows what to expect. It's controversial, so there's going to be a lot of great hot takes. It's just all around. I mean, we also have a great audience. You guys are awesome here in the Reddit community. Speaking of which, if you guys like and want to do the Halo show, but you don't like the time, or majority of you feel like it should be on another time, let us know. Drop us some mod mail. Our mod mail is always open for you guys to come talk to us about whatever you need to. Yeah, just let us know. We'll switch up the times if we can to better suit, because these are for the community. It's not for ourselves. It's purely for you guys, to just kind of have this new content that you really can't see on any other subreddit, at least gaming subreddit right now, that you guys can enjoy, and exclusive just to you guys.
I will say, I think the Halo subreddit got the producers from the show. They were lining up to do that, and so not to get too much into meta drama and all that kind of stuff, but there were a lot of comments when they announced that. They're just like, "Oh boy, yeah." They're just like, tread carefully, because the Halo community right now, there's a lot of gripes and a lot of things that they want to see changed and all that stuff, and so they basically are just like, be careful over there. So I wanted to go check that out. I love that. I love this client, and I love going around the different communities that are using it and listening in to some of the other talks, because like I said, it's just cool finding a bunch of people that are really fired up about the same topics or the same interest and discussing them in detail. I even listened in on a board game talk the other night, and it was just so much fun because people were suggesting different games they play and stuff, and kind of the same thing that we do here. So I'm wishing Reddit all the success in the world with this client. Groupifies. Yeah. How you doing over there? I bet you know what I'm going to ask you about.
Is it going to be the Discord?
It might actually be the Discord. If you'd like to share a few lines about our favorite extended community.
Yeah, of course. Basically, we have a Discord. It is the Xbox Community Discord, where, very similar to Reddit, where you talk about different games that people are playing, things like that. We do that there. We currently have trending channels for Elden Ring and Lego Star Wars. Usually when a new game comes out, we usually throw in a new trending thing. We also have music quizzes and all sorts of events that usually happen throughout the weekend. We used to do Halo nights, but I'm not sure what happened to those. I guess we're waiting for the season 2. But once that rolls out, be expecting those as well.
Yeah, the things will pick up for sure. And there's already a lot of early buzz I see about season 2, and I was surprised. I didn't think there was anything they could say that was going to appease a lot of the more vocal critics, but they've been really transparent. It seems like they've really been pushing this. Like, they are just all about communication right now, and they took every single gripe that they logged and they responded to it and provided a course of action as well. So it was like, okay, here's problem X. This is what we're going to do about it. And if that's enough to satisfy everyone, it's never going to be enough to satisfy everyone. But props to them for handling what most would call a 3-alarm fire and quelling it a little bit. So really excited for season 2, and really excited to see interest in that game pick back up, hopefully.
Yeah, and I think that's why we are seeing interest pick back up, is because they're communicating with people. I think we're so used to seeing games sort of get forgotten and people move on to the next thing, and that becomes especially apparent when the devs are just radio silent. We're like, well, I guess they're done. we're here with a product that we're not sure what to do with.
Battlefield
coming back,
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
And it went that way.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's good that they're talking to us and just keeping everyone posted, because I do think people want to play Infinite. It's just they want a reason to play Infinite,
Yeah, and I've always said too, even earlier when they were starting off all this, is I really do want to commend 343 for their dedication. They saw, there was issues, they addressed them almost immediately, and they started working on, hey, this is how we can fix this. This is where we're going. This is, I think they kind of dropped the ball initially with it, but they picked it back up, and I think they're moving in a great direction. Like you said, look at other games that kind of, you end up angering the fan base in the community, like Battlefield 2042, the Avengers game, where, they just kind of radio silent their community, and people are like, dude, I just paid $70 for this game. Like, talk to me, like, notice me, look at me, kind of understand what I'm going through. And it's just good job on 343. They're killing it right now. And I really can't wait for season 2.
Yeah, me neither. It's kind of like we were talking about earlier with one of our first guests today. Like, the bones are good, right? Like, everything in the backside of that game is awesome. It's just they need to figure out their progression and more maps, right? More maps. Come on, I think that's the easy gripe, and that's what everybody's asking for. So let's start launching those maps out there, and that is another thing they addressed. So we'll start seeing more maps soon. So
yeah. I think that's a good point. Oh, sorry. I was about to say, yeah, I think that's a great point. Like, the bones are good. And, that's usually, like, look at games like No Man's Sky. It had everything there that, the core of the game wasn't bad. It was just everything kind of around it just wasn't solid yet. And now look at it. It's a great game. They've put in so much time and investment. And I think the same thing with Halo is that the core of Halo is great. And, there's some things around it that need some work and some TLC, but, it's not a bad game by any means. It's a great game, and its core is great. And, I think it's a great analogy.
Yeah, we're excited for that. So more news will be coming soon. Like I said, they just announced everything, and they'll roll it out as soon as they can. I'm 100% sure of that. So really encouraging signs over there. And the Halo series, it's like Halo time right now. Like, I'm really into both universes, and excited to dive back into the game. Excited to watch episode 4, which we will discuss next Friday, as we previously talked about. You can find this content. We try to upload it to Spotify and Apple Podcast. We have a YouTube channel where there's video. You can see our faces now. We're starting to incorporate that. It's a lot more interactive and a cooler way to kind of experience our discussions here. So anywhere basically where you find or listen to content, we want to be available for you to catch the replays of these shows. I can't close out today without thanking all of you that joined us live. Again, this is what makes the show special. Having you guys come up here and share your opinions and thoughts on what's happening in Xbox. Even if it's something totally out of the blue, we actually like that, because you're giving us more topics to explore. So today we got to talk about the Unreal Engine and Halo the series, which we're always happy to do, even with the dedicated show. We can't wait to see what you bring at us next week when we get together again. If you're unfamiliar, we record every day every Saturday around 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 Pacific, with our general show here. And if we do spin-off shows, we'll let you know about those too. And we'd love having you over there too, especially like I said, with the Halo series right now. If you're into that, come check us out. We want to hear what you're thinking, and we want to share our thoughts with you too, because obviously we're way into it too. So I think that's all the housekeeping. Any closing remarks or last notes that you guys have to share?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to Pumpkinhead Beer, to Drakel, and to Growth Boosts for joining us today. Drakel and Pumpkinhead Boost, go ahead, or Pumpkinhead Beer, go ahead and check your DMs. That way you can see about getting the Reddit Premium. Also, drop your Twitter handle. Something we're going to start doing is I'll throw on the Xbox on Reddit. If you guys don't know about it, we also have a Twitter handle. Go ahead and join there, and we'll shoot you a shout out and stuff for joining on the show and stuff like that. But just a big thank you to everybody jumping in. It was great talking to y'all. It always is. We love the community. We love when you guys jump in. So thank you. Big thank you to you guys.
You're so much better than names with I am. You just like you list them down. Like I'm just a mess with it. Even when we do the Halo show, I'm just like, oh, you know that one character that just somebody help me out, and it's a trait I'm jealous of. So yes, thank you again to the users who participated today. I think that's gonna about wrap it up for this week's show. So the next time we will talk to you will be Friday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. Tentatively, we will update if any changes are made to discuss Halo the series, though. Until then, everybody have a great week.
Happy gaming, y'all.
Yeah,
Happy
have a good one,
gaming.
everybody.
Yeah, see you guys later.
See you.